Welcome to Just Say This, the place to get all the help you need for the Birds and Bees talks. I'm your host, Amy Lang. Just a quick reminder, this show is for grown-ups because I'll be swearing. There'll be lots of swears, and then I'll also be talking about grown-up sex. I can guarantee that your kids do not want to listen to this, and they really don't want to listen to it with you. You've been warned. Do you have a question for me? Please give me a call. The phone number is 206-926-1522, 206-926-1522, and I will answer on the show. And if you have a funny sex talk story, please call in those as well. 206-926-1522. Thanks. Hello. I am going to just say happy holidays. It's that time of the year here while I am recording this episode, and I had some thoughts about what to talk to you about. Of course, the main one was porn, because your children have an increased chance of being exposed over the holidays. Yay! If you're wondering why, just think about your holiday lifestyle and think about all the devices your children have. So, done scolding over. You could get them Bark for Christmas, for example, which would give them great relief and you great relief. It's my favorite monitoring and filtering software product, whatever. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do instead is something fun. There's this great article from Huff Post. It's in the show notes that is full of kid quotes about sex. So I'm going to read them. I'm not going to credit them because that'll just take forever and is boring. But if you want to know who said what or whose kids said what, go ahead and look at the link. The article's called 31 Too Real Tweets About Parents Having the Talk with Their Kids. Are you ready? Here we go. Impromptu birds and bees talk ended with my son comparing testicles to transformers. So I guess that went well. The next one. It's like a horsey ride for grown-ups. Then he says, me failing at giving a talk about the birds and bees. Dad and Buried said, pro-parenting tip. When giving your kids the sex talk, visual aids and demonstrations are not as helpful as it may seem. Next up, my 6-year-old asked where babies came from. I told him the truth. While I was sitting and basking in my pride at being an honest mom, he just stared before saying, I wasn't expecting that. That was inappropriate. Then, did the doctors watch you do it? I should have lied. Talking with my boys about things like sex and consent and where babies come from is of the utmost importance. It's a responsibility. I take it seriously. But it's tough not to crack a smile when your son can't stop pronouncing it China. My 8-year-old said verbatim, well, first we were in Dad's nuts, then in Mom's egg. Now we're us. Sex talk stuck like fucking glue, people. That's actually my favorite one. My 6-year-old. Where do babies come from? Me. Vagina. 6-year-old. I hate being human. Had the sex talk with my daughter and used the term heavy petting. She hasn't spoken to me since then. It was 12 years ago. This is from the dad, and this is in parens or brackets. After my wife explains to our kids about where babies come from. Me. That's wild. Wife. You knew this. Me. I know, but you get used to it. When you actually think about it again, it's absolutely insane. My 4-year-old. Mommy, did you eat me and 6-year-old brother and that's how we got to be in your tummy? Me. Yes, I did. It's such a relief to have the sex talk out of the way early. We had to have the sex talk with 10 today. So obviously, I'll be avoiding eye contact with him for the rest of the day. Using toys to explain the birds and the bees to your kids seems clever unless the toys are transformers because the logistics get complicated. If you want your kids to leave you alone, just start giving them the sex talk. There's some truth to that. Not for everybody. My son just asked if girls were born with pierced ears, so I guess my birds and bees talk wasn't as comprehensive as I thought. My 6-year-old recently asked how babies get inside a mommy's tummy, and since I was not quite prepared to have this talk at his age, I told him babies come from seeds. Now both of my kids are convinced that I ate 2 baby seeds. I always thought having a toddler was the hardest part of parenting, and then I had the sex talk with my teen. Note, people, what's wrong with that? Sex talk, right? We do sex talks. Okay, here's one more. Oh no, I'm not going to do that because it's long and involves singing. Although it's funny because it's in a restaurant. Restaurant for Mother's Day breakfast. 4, what should I sing about? Mother-in-law, babies. 4, babies, babies, they come from me, frantically waving, no, 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 no. 4, they come from vaginas. H, that must be husband. You really shouldn't have. 4, vaginas, vaginas, baby come from vaginas. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And one more. 2:17 a.m. Me, it's time to have the talk. 12, snoring. Me, yes. Now it's her turn again. That's from a husband. It's kind of sexist and gross. All right, here we go. One last one. Wife told me to have the sex talk with our son, but she gave me a list of words I can't use, so now I'm just sitting in the room staring at him. All right, there you go. Little humor for you. And I'll probably do this next week, partially because lazy and funny, right? So if you have sex talk stories, you know I love them, so feel free to call 206-926-1522. All right, back to whatever the hell it is you were doing, or maybe you're doing something while you're listening to me, which is also, good. Oh, one other thing. I did a podcast with my friend Casey O'Rourke and my friend Christy Keating, and it was about sugar dating, which is what they call like having a sugar daddy is now, and it's really terrific. The link to that is in the show notes as well. It's so interesting and gross and complicated, so you can listen to that when you're done listening to this. All right, have a good one. That's it for this week. Thanks to everyone who's been calling in. The number's 206-926-1522, so please leave me a message if you have a question or a tale from the trenches. And thank you to Melanie Smith, my producer, and to Rolf, who wrote the Birds and Bees and Kids theme song.